We are now a month into the college basketball season, and most of the top prospects have played at least 8 games, and some of them have started to separate themselves and turn their talents to great production. There's obviously a long way to go, but we already have a good idea of who the top prospects are for next year's draft. It's hard to project how good this draft class will be. It has a lot of talent to be great, but I also believe it has the potential to be overrated. It's also difficult to compare prospects to NBA players. I like to compare prospects to a player that they most remind me of. Not to say that that prospect will be just as good or better than that NBA player. In this video, I will give my NBA comparisons for the top prospects in the 2019 NBA draft class. Duke freshman RJ Barrett. Even though most scouts say that Zion is number 1 on their draft board, Barrett is still the most complete prospect in the draft. He is extremely competitive and plays with a lot of passion, but he also has the size, talent, and athleticism to back it all up. Barrett may not be a smooth scorer, but he can score on all 3 levels. He has shown he can score off the dribble, but he still needs to improve his handle to flourish on the next level. Barrett is an above-the-rim athlete who can change ends in the blink of an eye. He brings that same energy on offense to the defensive end also. From time to time, he might hold on to the ball on offense too long and miss open players, but he has shown he can be a willing passer at times, as he's averaging around 4 assists a game. I'll compare RJ Barrett to a more aggressive Andrew Wiggins. The biggest differences between the two is mindset and attitude. Wiggins has a lot of talent, but the knock on him is he doesn't have that dog in him. For the most part, he doesn't take charge or demand the ball. Barrett is the complete opposite. He plays with so much more aggression, which gives Barrett a better chance to live up to the hype. Both players are solid outside shooters, but are real streaky. Both have incredible athleticism and good size for a wing player. If you're a top prospect, you don't necessarily have to be a fiery player or show a lot of emotion, but you do need to take charge and rise to the occasion and not shy away from the moment. Barrett has the mindset and talent to be worthy of a top pick in the NBA draft. Duke freshman Zion Williamson could be the best and impressive athlete in NBA history. It's crazy that a man around 280 pounds to move as fluidly as a guard and can literally hit his head on the rim with the greatest of ease. He has a good combination of brute strength and explosiveness, and he has such good body control for a man his size. He doesn't have great offensive skills, but he still can make a great impact in a lot of areas. Zion is very active on defense and is always a threat to block a shot from the weak side. He is unselfish and can make the right pass. Zion has the natural talent, charisma, and passion to be worthy of a number 1 pick. I will compare Zion to a more athletic Larry Johnson. Obviously, nobody in NBA history matches up with the size and athleticism of Zion Williamson, but his style of play matches up with Larry Johnson in my opinion. They are both undersized power forwards who rely on their power and strength in the paint and has a nice touch around the basket. Larry Johnson had the ability to shoot the 3 ball at a good percentage. Zion so far hasn't been able to shoot with consistency from beyond the arc. Both are relentless rebounders and solid defenders with great leaping ability. A serious back injury kept Larry Johnson from reaching his full potential. Even with more strength and athleticism and a consistent jump shot, Zion could be the player Larry Johnson was supposed to be. Duke freshman Cam Reddish. You could argue that Reddish has more natural talent than anybody in this draft. He has the skill set, size, and length to make a big impact in today's NBA. He has a great looking jump shot and has deep range and can put it on the floor and create. He's 6'8" with a 7'1" wingspan, and with that size, length, plus his quickness, he could be a great asset for the switch-heavy defenses in this era. But the question is, does Reddish play with 100% effort every night? Even though he plays with 2 other great prospects in Zion and Barrett, there are some games where you forget Cam is even on the court. Reddish is too talented to not make a major impact on the game on a nightly basis. His talent and size reminds me of Paul George, super talented wing player who has become an elite scorer on the next level. Both have an effortless pull-up three-point shot and can put the ball on the ground and get to the rim. Paul George has really improved his handle since Fresno State, which has enhanced his offensive game. Reddish has a solid handle at this point, and I believe he can improve it, and with his athleticism, agility, and height, could potentially average 20 points a game on the next level. Oregon freshman Bol Bol. I have to say, the prospect that has impressed me the most is this guy. I didn't expect his offensive game to be this far along at this point. Bol is literally one of the best three-point shooters in college basketball. Even at 7'2" with a 7'8" wingspan, he is shooting 50% from beyond the arc. He prefers to face up than getting down low with his back to the basket. With his wingspan, he will be able to make a huge impact on the defensive end. The one thing he needs to work on is his strength. At 7'2", he's only around 225 pounds. I compare Bol Bol to Knicks superstar Kristaps Porzingis. Both have a similar frame, has good handles, and can pull up from beyond the arc. And just like Bol, Porzingis needs to get stronger to hold his position in the post. I do see a little unicorn in Bol Bol. You could make a case for him as the #1 pick. USC freshman Kevin Porter Jr. Nobody has risen up the draft boards more than Kevin Porter Jr. He has an impressive offensive repertoire already at his young age. It is definitely advanced. He is a great shot creator and has an effective crossover in transition. He already has an NBA body standing 6'6" and weighing 217 pounds. Has the strength and athleticism to get to the rim consistently and can also make an impact on defense. Porter has a knack from anticipating passes, which allows him to get into transition and show off his athleticism. The player I will compare Porter to is Jimmy Butler. Now I believe Porter is well ahead of Butler with his game when they both were freshmen. Butler obviously improved his handle throughout his NBA career to become an effective shot creator. He's an athletic two-way player who plays with a chip on his shoulder. I believe Porter can be just as effective on the next level on offense and defense. He has the talent and physical tools, he just gotta keep working. I see a lot of Jimmy Butler and Kevin Porter Jr. North Carolina freshman Nasir Little. Little is a tough, hard-nosed, versatile forward who can make an impact in multiple areas. He brings a lot of energy every time he steps on the court. He's not known for his outside shooting, as he has shot around 26% from a three-point line so far this season, and he commits just as many turnovers as assists. He loves to get his hands dirty on defense and will fight for every rebound. He is still a talented and athletic wing who projects well on the next level. Little reminds me of Justice Winslow, someone who is primarily known for his defense and toughness. Anything he gives you on offense is a bonus. Neither are natural shooters from the outside, and that's something Little will have to improve on to be more effective in the NBA. Both are around 6'6" and have an NBA body and has the strength to battle any wing player from day one. Indiana freshman Romeo Langford. Langford came in regarded as one of the best pure scorers in the draft, and for the most part, he's lived up to that. Langford makes everything look so easy and effortless. He has the quickness and handles to get by his defenders and either get to the rim or pull up from mid-range. But he has struggled from the three-point line so far, shooting around 24%. But despite that, he's still averaging around 18 points a game. Three-point shooting and defense are two areas he must improve on. I will compare Romeo Langford to Charlotte Hornets guard Jeremy Lamb, someone with a ton of talent and good size for a wing player. Lamb is a silky smooth offensive player who can get buckets in his sleep, but he has never been able to be consistent in the NBA. Langford has the talent to be an all-star level player, and hopefully he can live up to his talent level and become consistent, unlike Jeremy Lamb. French combo forward Sekou Doumbouya. Doumbouya is the best international prospect in this year's draft. The 17-year-old hasn't been productive this season so far, but has the tools and size to become a complementary piece to a good team in the NBA. He hasn't gotten a lot of playing time this season, which has resulted in low averages so far. He stands at 6'9" with a 6'11" wingspan and moves as quick and fast as a guard. Shows good footwork and has decent handles, which allows him to get in the lane. Doumbouya is still raw offensively, but scouts project him as a potential stretch 4, kinda like Raptors forward Pascal Siakam. That's the potential for Doumbouya, an athletic forward who really doesn't have any weaknesses. He's not an elite scorer, but he is a major threat, especially if you're focusing on other players. Siakam has improved his three-point shooting since he entered the league, which helps him open up his game. Doumbouya has a chance to affect the game equally on both sides, just like Pascal Siakam. Murray State sophomore Ja Morant. Along with Kevin Porter Jr., Morant has also shot up draft boards since the start of the season. He is having a Trae Young level impact this season, from his scoring to his passing. Morant has made tremendous improvements from his freshman year to his sophomore year, and he's playing the same amount of minutes also. Morant is one of the leaders in the country in assist rate early on. He has shown relentless ability to get to the rim, and despite his 175-pound frame, can finish through contact. He has shown his explosiveness this season a couple of times playing above the rim. Morant plays with such confidence and swagger every night. He plays like he knows he's the best player on the court. Against the best competition, he scored 38 points, 9 rebounds, and 5 assists against Alabama. Cutting down on his turnovers, adding strength are two areas that could take his game to another level. I will compare Ja Morant to Alfred Payton with a reliable jump shot. Both have the same build with long arms to deflect the ball and play the passing lanes. Both have the quickness and handles to get in the lane and score over the defense. Payton came from a small school also and shot up the draft boards and ended up being drafted in the lottery. He has still never gotten a reliable jump shot, which has put a limit on his ceiling. Ja Morant projects to be a more effective player going forward because he has shown he can knock down the outside shot, but he must continue to improve it. Kentucky freshman Keldon Johnson, the most talented prospect on Kentucky, is a high-energy physical wing player who does most of his damage in the paint area. Johnson plays with a mean streak and has a high motor as he competes on both ends of the floor. He loves to run and get out in transition and is very aggressive attacking the basket. He has also impressed so far as a defender and rebounder. His outside shot is something he needs to work on. He is one of the main players that will determine how far Kentucky goes this season. I will compare Keldon Johnson to Denver Nuggets guard Malik Beasley. Beasley too is a physical athletic guard who gets in the lane and can finish above the rim. Beasley is finally getting playing time in his third year and is showing what he can do. Beasley had a very impactful freshman season at Florida State, and I believe he was a slightly better outside shooter than Keldon Johnson is right now. Kansas freshman Quentin Grimes. Grimes was highly touted coming out of high school, and he hit the ground running in his first game against Michigan State when he hit 6 threes and scored 21 points, and it seems like it was a sign of things to come. But Grimes is probably the most disappointing prospect so far this year. Over the last couple of games, he's been consistently inconsistent. Kansas does have a lot of talent on the team, and players like Lawson and Vick have stepped up and become the scoring leaders on the team. Even though he doesn't have many opportunities as he should, he still should be contributing more than he has. Grimes is a well-rounded player who isn't necessarily elite at any area. He still has time to turn it around, but if this play continues, he might want to stay at Kansas for at least one more year. When he's playing like he's capable of, he reminds me of Denver Nuggets guard Gary Harris, a solid scoring wing player who can play good man-to-man defense. Isn't a great scorer, but he has knocked down clutch shots in his short career. Just like Grimes, not really elite at any area, but is solid in many areas. Vanderbilt freshman Simi Shittu. It was hard to predict how effective Shittu would be early in the season, coming off a torn ACL from December of last year. But for the most part, he's actually played better than expected. The athletic forward is averaging around 15 points, 8 rebounds, shooting around 62% from inside the arc. He's not much of an outside shooter at this point, and he is yet to make a three-pointer so far at Vanderbilt. Shittu can get a defensive rebound and has good enough ball handling skills to take it coast to coast. As he gets more comfortable with his surgically repaired knee, I expect him to improve as an offensive player and defensive player. Shittu reminds me of former NBA player J.J. Hickson, a guy who made his money in the paint area. He also wasn't much of an outside shooter. Hickson was a solid rebounder and shot blocker, and occasionally showed a little offense from time to time. Shittu could be better than Hickson if he can get a consistent jump shot. Vanderbilt freshman Darius Garland. Unfortunately, this diaper dandy won't be suiting up no more for Vanderbilt because of a torn meniscus. In the few games he played, he showed what kind of scorer he can be. In his fourth game, Garland exploded for 33 points on 18 field goal attempts. He's an impressive scorer who has a deadly pull-up game. He's 6'2", 175 pounds, and he's not an above-the-rim type of athlete. Garland will have to rely on his shooting, quickness, and intangibles to stick around on the next level. He was more of a scorer than a passer in the few games he played at Vanderbilt. He reminds me of Timberwolves point guard Jeff Teague. They are around the same size and has a knack for scoring in multiple ways. Doesn't have great vision, but are willing passers. They both have good handles and quick enough to create enough space to get their shots off. Despite missing most of the season, I believe Garland will still have a chance to be drafted in the lottery. Arkansas sophomore Daniel Gafford. It's always a risk for a prospect who could have been drafted in the first round, maybe even the lottery, to come back for their sophomore year. So far, it has paid off for Daniel Gafford. He has increased his numbers across the board. He's averaging around 19 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 blocks a game. Gafford is a long, active, shot-blocking big man who can make a huge impact on the next level. Even though he's not a great offensive player, there's still a place in the league for a player who can dive to the basket, finish lobs, and protect the rim. Gafford has the mobility and athleticism to switch on guards and pick and rolls and not be a liability. Players like JaVale McGee have shown how valuable a player like this can be on the NBA team. I will compare Daniel Gafford to former NBA player Marcus Camby, a long and skinny big man who was one of the game's best shot blockers of his era. Campbell was very fluid for a center and showed very good lateral quickness. I see that in Daniel Gafford. Both players rely on their length and timing to be great shot blockers. Camby was a better mid-range jump shooter and got better at it throughout his NBA career. That's part of Daniel Gafford's game that hasn't been developed at this point. LSU freshman Naz Reid. Reid is a talented big man who has a versatile offensive skill set. He is very fluid for a guy standing 6'10", or 240 pounds. Can handle the ball well and can finish through contact in the paint and can knock down the 3-ball at a solid rate. Reid can be very creative on offense by sometimes using the Euro step and even the Dirk one-legged fadeaway. But as impressive as he can be on offense, he's a disappointment as a rebounder and a shot blocker. With his size and length, there's no reason why he can't be better in those two areas. He's not a great athlete, and he hasn't shown the quickness or foot speed to hold up on defense so far in college. I compare Naz Reid to Miami Heat big man Kelly Olynyk. Both players rely on their outside jump shot. They both attack the defense off the dribble and show a nice touch around the basket. Olynyk is a slightly better shot blocker, even with a shorter wingspan. Olynyk has to play the center position in the NBA because he doesn't have the quickness or foot speed to keep up with most power forwards. Naz Reid is still very young, but he has just as many weaknesses as strengths. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, do it right now for future NBA content.